This week, across the BBC, we've been having a conversation about dementia. Now, that's because on BBC iPlayer and BBC Sounds this week, we're bringing you a wide range of material that's specifically designed to spark memories and to be a real comfort to people who are living with dementia. Now, you can find out more. There's a special BBC season on memories and dementia on iPlayer and BBC Sounds. Go to bbc.co.uk/memories and dementia to find out a bit more. A load of resources for you there. Now, one of the things that's really powerful for those living with dementia, of course, is music, and we've spoken about that multiple times on the show over the years. Carl Newman runs a project, for example, called Leicester Musical Memory Box, and she's in the studio. Hello.
Hello again. Lovely to see you.
It's great to see you. It's absolutely fabulous to see you. I love chatting to you because you're so passionate about this, because the difference it makes to people's lives is unbelievable.
It is, and I've said it every time I've met you, Ben. It never gets boring. It's always wonderful, and I'm going to slip this in here as well. I just want to say that we get just as much out of it. Our volunteers, our group leaders, anyone that comes. Music is just so powerful.
Also in the studio, because we've got a packed studio, is Sian and Steve, who've come in to join us. Steve, you live with dementia, and I want to be just absolutely clear that you're in the studio and with us, and you'll feel if you want to join in, you absolutely can do at any point you want to.
Yeah.
Sian, what's the journey been like for you both?
Steve had his diagnosis in February 2023, and initially it was overwhelming, absolutely overwhelming. Even though you suspect something, receiving a diagnosis is very difficult. But you have two choices. You either sit down and give up, or you look for positives in your new life, and that's what we've done. We were signposted to various organisations, community organisations, and Musical Memory Box was one of them. And once we plucked up the courage to start coming, we've been coming to Carl's group for just over 18 months now, and it's been such a positive experience for both of us.
I'm conscious I don't want to talk for Steve, so if you feel comfortable, Steve, you can come in at any point. But just what's it meant to you? How has it helped Steve, the Musical Memory Box?
I've said this to Kyle several times, really, but when we're at the session, it's 2 hours on a Thursday afternoon once a month, and Steve comes alive with music. Yeah. He really does. He was. You like to sing, don't you?
Yeah.
He likes to sing, and if there's a long introduction to a song that we're listening to, Steve will get up and dance. Yeah. So he feels safe enough to be able to do that.
Busting out his moves.
Yeah, he does, and that's. It's joyous to watch. Yeah. It really is, because he comes alive with music. Yeah. He struggles with his spoken word, but he's word perfect with songs, and if he doesn't remember words to songs, he will whistle, and he's got such a good whistle. He's very, very in tune with the music.
Is that bittersweet for you?
Very, very, because obviously this isn't the retirement that we had hoped for each other, but it is what it is. And you just have to grab what you've got and look for humour and look for the joy in it, and we do. We have some good times.
Kyle, the thing that's always impressed me about you is you talk about the positives. It is a new life. It's a new life for Sian and Steve. It has its challenges, but you always look at the positives, and it's about living with.
It is. It's about living well and saying, this is as Sian just very eloquently said. This is our life now, and yes, you can just lay down and wait for it to happen. But there is a lot of life still to be had, and a lot of people live very well. And I think I really hope, particularly for younger people like Sian and Steve, that there'll be a sea change in people's perceptions of what dementia means. As I think there probably has been, 30, 40 years ago, we'd kind of go, ooh, cancer, and but there's been a change of that. People say, they might have a cancer diagnosis and then they'll live and have a very good quality of life for a long time. And that is the case for some people that are affected by dementia. And there is still a lot of very positive, upbeat experiences to have. People are still using public transport, still living independently. Some people might have a very positive experience with their workplace, and that will endeavour to keep them as long as possible. All sorts of things. It is a new life, and as Sian said, it might not be what you planned for when you're a bit older, but there are lots of other, and let's face it, all sorts of things happen to us where we might have to make changes in our lives, any kind of medical condition. But there is a lot of positivity out there, and music is it really gives us that. You'll have heard me say lots of times that there of course there are loads of therapeutic things that we can do, and I've done other things. I've done gardening, I've been a garden designer previously, all sorts of stuff, but music is way up there because of this incredible effect it has on the brain, which we then have it gives us this amazing tool to then work with people that are affected by dementia.
And it would seem that, things like, as we've been talking about on the show this week, about how classic telly seems to plumb into the same bit of the brain.
I'm so glad you brought that up, because we're actually just started our annual project with the Philharmonia, which is called Here and Now. We had our first session last Sunday, and one of the themes, I think it's coincidental, but we're using TV themes, and we had a percussionist join us from the orchestra who brought in a vibraphone, which is like tubular bells hanging down, and he just went da-dun, 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 da, and suddenly we were all in Tony Hart's gallery.
Yeah.
And everybody, if we'd have said, if we'd have spoken, who remembers Take Heart, Vision On? Oh yeah, but as soon as you hear the music, everybody was there, and to see it being played was such a treat. Of course, it was really, really lovely. But we use adverts a lot, and advertisers use music that's familiar to us. You can sing just one cornetto, and everybody knows where we are.
We're all doing it now in our head.
We're all doing it in our heads, and I can use that then we can leapfrog onto Elvis, or we can go back to O Sole Mio, and a lot of people don't realise that's the same tune. O Sole Mio, cornetto, Elvis, and that can take us all sorts of places. I can do the Shake and Vac Lady, or start to finish. I won't.
No, but now that's a new one for everybody, and we haven't even sung it.
No, we all want to do it now, don't we? Yeah. And I think that's the other thing, is that we instantly smile. Those upbeat chemicals are coming up, the natural highs are coming up in our body. And for somebody like Sian that might have had a stressy day or something, and I have to say, she enables Steve. She's not just taking him to things, she enables him, and he does. You volunteer as well, don't you, for other things. And so when you're working with music, all of those wonderful things, dopamine, oxytocin, endorphins, they're working on Sian as a carer as well. And I don't think I'm ever going to get bored of it, to be honest.
If you look at Leicester Musical Memory Box, you'll find all the details online.
Yeah.
Sian, just briefly, what was the trigger for you to start that process of diagnosis? What was it that sort of alarmed you both?
Steve was probably ill from his late 50s, early 60s, and in 2019 I started to notice that some of his behaviour was not the norm for him. An example of that is he cut a chandelier down in the kitchen, and Steve is an electronics engineer by profession, and he left live wires there. And now he would never have done that. Not in a month of Sundays would he have ever done that. So that made me start to think there was something not quite right. And then in 2020, Steve stopped speaking to me. And initially I thought that was because he was losing his hearing, but it wasn't. It was because he couldn't find the words, and then he couldn't get the words out. So I started asking for help in 2020. And because he was so young, I think Alzheimer's wasn't really considered. So he was treated for anxiety and depression. And we were living in Wales at the time. We came back to Leicester, and a friend said, look, you really need to go to the doctors, and our GP listened to me, and that started the process. But it wasn't a standard. People with Alzheimer's, people think it's about memory loss, and it is eventually, but for Steve it was lack of communication. That was his major issue, and it is still a major issue. Steve's still got a good memory.
It's a joy to have you both in the studio. Steve, thank you for coming into the studio as well. Kyle, what you do is amazing. You're always welcome to come in here at any time. Leicester Musical Memory Box is an absolute lifesaver for people, isn't it? So thank you so much for coming in.
And since I last saw you as well, we've got more groups now all over the county. We're now in Melton and Rutland, and even further north in the county as well, and possibly more to come this year.
Love it.
Can I just have a final say? It's really to support Kyle. There are community groups out there, and I would encourage anybody with early diagnosis, even though you're in shock, to think about music, because it's fundamental, and it's improved.
Better,
yeah,
really.
It's improved our lives.
And also, Steve can still sing. There is that, so we still get to hear your voice,
Yeah.
don't we? And that's such a pleasure because our voices are who we are, and we still get to, and Sian gets to hear
Yeah.
your voice.
Yeah.
It's just a little bit more musical.
Yes.
Go and check it out as well, bbc.co.uk/memories and dementia. You'll find a whole load of support material there too. Let's catch up again in the future. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
It's